Hey guys, Dr. James Stirrett here. Today I'm going to be talking about some just blatant misinformation that I'm seeing, unfortunately, from doctor to patient when it comes to weight loss medications or these GLP-1 medications like Semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy. When it comes to these things being used for weight loss, I'm finding that doctors really just have no idea what they're doing, but patients are asking for it like crazy. Everybody wants to know about Semaglutide and Ozempic. So people are really demanding answers from their doctors, and their doctors just don't know. This is where the misinformation is coming in, so pay close attention today because this could make a big difference for you in your weight loss journey if you are using a GLP-1 or wanting to use a GLP-1 medication like Semaglutide. So I really want to break this misinformation. I don't really want to call it lies. It truly is misinformation because I don't think doctors are trying to hurt anybody, but I do think that they don't know enough about using semaglutide for weight loss to actually help their patients, unfortunately. And so this is for doctors, this is for patients, this is for everyone. I'm going to break this down to three elements, three categories of misinformation that I believe are being spread. Now, last week I had a patient, let's call him Josh, and I believe he was like the perfect example of what I'm seeing in my practice again and again and again, because I'm getting a lot of people showing up on my doorstep that are already on semaglutide, and there's already the same problems are popping up again and again, and the same viewpoints are popping up again and again, and the same questions are popping up again and again. So I want to get all this stuff answered for you today and get this crystal clear so this misinformation is completely squashed. So a little bit about Josh real quick. So he's 76 years old. His physician prescribed him Wegovy, which is just semaglutide, and he's paying out of pocket. This is like, for starters, like this is crazy. He's paying like $1,500 a month for Wegovy out of pocket. Doctor had him on a generic dosage, and his first thing he said was, man, I am so sick, like I feel like I have the flu on the days when I take it. And then he's not hungry at all. He was like completely hunger shut down. And by the way, this is not our goal on semaglutide. It's not our goal at all. Josh had a lot of questions for me, which I'm going to break down for you because I think this illustrates all my points perfectly. But dosage is the first principle that I want to speak to you about. It's the area that doctors are actually missing most. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull up Ozempic's website real quick so I can show you exactly what's going on. All right, so dosage is the first element of misinformation. Let's just go off of Ozempic's website. This is a PDF for prescribers. You download it. If you don't know what you're doing with Ozempic, this is what Ozempic's telling you to do. And Wegovy and other brand name versions of semaglutide will do the exact same thing. So dosage and administration. Basically what they're saying here is start at 0.25 milligrams. So 0.25 milligrams once per week. They want you to stay there for 4 weeks. Then double the dosage to 0.5 milligrams once per week. So now you're at 0.5 milligrams. Then it says if additional glycemic control, so if your blood sugar, basically it's saying if your blood sugar is still not stable, increase it to 1 milligram once a week. Wait for at least 4 weeks, and then you can continue to increase by 0.5 units until you hit 2 milligrams if needed. You guys, this is absolutely insane. I want to just pump the brakes on this for a second and call this out. Starting at 0.25 milligrams, there's not a lot wrong with that, as long as you don't keep increasing it like this. Look at the landscape for a second. Most doctors are using this as their template for treating people with weight loss. But the problem is that this is how to treat diabetics. This is a instructional on how to treat diabetics for blood sugar. Now, most people with weight issues do have some insulin resistance, if not all, but that doesn't mean they need to be treated with like a straight up diabetic, getting 1 milligrams per week, 2 milligrams per week. This is a recipe for side effects. This is a recipe for disaster. And it's a recipe, in fact, to make someone have to stay on this forever and become dependent. So just from my standpoint, really, there's no reason to go above 1 milligram per week when it comes to weight loss. That's very, very, very heavy handed. Often 0.25 milligrams per week is an awesome place to be. Or increasing that to 0.25 milligrams, 0.25 milligrams twice a week. So like every 4-day structure is what we do with a lot of our clients that can be really, really helpful. And that leads us straight into the second piece of the misinformation that we're seeing is, do I need to be on this forever? And that is exactly what this client last week was asking me. Josh was saying, hey, like my doctor told me that this is a long-term solution for me. I really don't know how I feel about that. I feel like when I come off it, the weight's just going to come right back. And he's absolutely right. If Josh is being titrated up to 1 milligram, 1.5 milligrams, 2 milligrams, and this doctor pulls him off the medication, even though he wanted to lose like 30 pounds, he may hit that goal. I'm not saying he wouldn't hit that goal. He probably will over time, but that weight's just going to come back if nothing else changes. And his doctor can also assume this too, which is why most doctors are just going to leave their patients on this long term. Now, of course, at a high dosage point, leaving someone on the medication long term is just, again, going to set them up for failure if they ever do decide to come off, because those receptors are being stimulated to such a high degree. So a different approach on that would be to get onto the medication, stay at a low dosage, the lowest effective dose of semaglutide. I prefer that split dose strategy. Lose the weight that you want to lose, then taper off the medication entirely. Don't just stop, but taper off the medication entirely. And that is how you don't need to be on this forever. Lastly, and probably most importantly, Josh was like, hey, I'm not really hungry at all. My doctor didn't give me any nutrition, dietary, lifestyle advice at all in terms of how to help myself. And he's like, hey, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. Like basically we looked at his diet. It was not a healthy diet. But he's just saying like, hey, I'm basically going into starvation at this point. I'm not hungry, so I'm not eating, so I'm losing weight. Is this okay? I want to think about this from a different framework entirely. When you're on semaglutide and you know you're on the right dosage for weight loss, you should still be a little bit hungry. Like your hunger might be curved. You might not crave sweets as much. You might not crave, carbs as much or whatever. You might not eat as much, but you should still get hungry breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It just might be less exaggerated than it normally is. And that's okay. That's how you know you're on the right dosage of semaglutide. And then what you're actually doing from the lifestyle side of things makes all the difference. Nutrition makes all the difference. And why do I say this? Because one, you're going to lose weight faster on semaglutide when you eat well. When you eat a clean, healthy diet, whole foods, staying away from processed stuff, fried stuff, processed meats, all the alcohol, like all the things that are obviously not good for you. When you avoid these things, you are going to lose weight faster. I try to tell people to eat more like a paleo style diet, but this is something that we customize entirely for them when we're working one-on-one. If you don't do this, of course you're going to gain the weight back, just like anything else that you've ever tried in your entire life. Keto, 30-10, intermittent fasting, like what happens the second you stop? All that stuff comes back. I just saw a statistic the other day that 80% of people that do keto at some point end up gaining the weight back. So that means that only 20% of people are successful on keto, and those are usually the people that just decide to do keto forever, right? So sorry for the tangent. But unless you make changes while on semaglutide and keep those changes after, that weight will come back. You can use this time period of being on semaglutide to gain you momentum and make great lifestyle changes that carry forward, onward after your time on semaglutide. If you're looking for an all-in-one solution to this, we have an awesome course that basically tells you how to taper on, how to taper off, what to actually eat, our nutrition plan, our cookbooks, our strategies, even our lab work that we run to make sure that we're covering other angles of your health. If you're interested in that, go ahead and check out the link below. It'll help you a great deal. And if you found this content valuable, please comment, share, like. These are things that help grow the channel. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. And subscribe. Hit the little notification bell and join the community here. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care.